Hi, my name's Lauren, and in this short video, I'm going to reveal a weird little secret that will allow you to get pregnant in just 60 short days, even if you've been endlessly trying for years without taking any drugs, no evasive and embarrassing tests done by strange doctors, and without spending thousands of dollars on expensive surgeries. In fact, even though this might sound impossible now, once you watch this short presentation and do what it says, you'll finally feel that getting pregnant is not only entirely possible with my advice, but actually quite simple. This incredible effective pregnancy solution I'm about to reveal has been successfully used by over 742,000 happy couples all over the world in just the past 2 years alone. Even if you've been trying forever and getting pregnant feels impossible right now, you'll feel like you suddenly have a magic switch that turns on the fertility center in your body. Your heart will skip a beat when you finally see a positive pregnancy test. You can go out and officially buy the paint for a nursery, but above all else, be able to hold your newborn child tightly in your arms. And I personally promise you, what I'm about to reveal here will work, no matter how long you've been trying to have a baby, even if you're in your 40s, no matter your partner's sperm count, or even if you have tubal obstruction, even if your doctor says you have high levels of FSH, PCOS, or endometriosis, been told you have uterine fibroids or uterus scarring, ovarian cysts, also known as lazy ovaries. My solution will even work if you've had a history of miscarriages in the past, safely and faster than ever thought possible. So why has getting pregnant been so difficult? Shouldn't it be the easiest, most natural thing in the world? Now, when I personally first decided with my husband to have a child, we both thought one magical night would do it, and 9 months later we would be holding our very own child in our arms. What we got was about a year of frustration, sleepless nights, and constant worrying that something was wrong with us. Maybe we weren't normal. It was heartbreaking. At the early age of 2, I knew that I was destined to be a mother one day. All it took was holding my very first doll in my arms. As a child who was obsessed with dolls that blinked when you moved their head, ate plastic food, and would even pee in a diaper, the thought of not being able to have children of my own didn't even cross my mind. At the age of 32, I had realized getting pregnant isn't easy for everyone. The world as I knew it shattered all around me as my first pregnancy test came up negative. By the time I experienced my 5th negative pregnancy test, I was utterly heartbroken. After a full year of unsuccessfully trying to conceive a child, I finally felt like just giving up. I resigned myself to never being able to have a child of my own naturally, to feeling like there had to be something wrong with my body, and even at one point staying awake at night wondering if my husband would ever leave me for another woman who would be able to give him children. But then a few years ago, I stumbled onto a simple question that changed everything for me, that opened a door and led me not only to giving birth naturally to a beautiful baby boy, but getting pregnant a second time just 2 months after giving birth to my first child. What was the big question? Well, it sounds kind of silly, but here it is. Have you ever heard of women who could get pregnant so easily, all it takes is for them to sneeze? Now, I'm well aware that sneezing won't get you pregnant, but think about it. How's it that some women can get pregnant so easily while you've been doing everything in your power to get pregnant but with 0 results? Not to mention all the frustrating stories you hear about women who don't even try and accidentally get pregnant. I won't even mention all the maddening stories of women getting pregnant by mistake, not even wanting a child to begin with. So how come some women get pregnant so easily while we're still struggling? You'll soon discover how you can actually transform your body into a baby-making machine and give birth naturally to healthy and beautiful children of your very own. First, let me explain that your body is hardwired to get pregnant as a survival mechanism. Reproduction is baked into our DNA. If the human body wasn't designed specifically for reproduction, you wouldn't even be here right now watching this video. The ability to reproduce is a gift that no woman should be denied. Here's a cool way to visualize how things work. If we compare the inner workings of your body to someone who sneezes and gets pregnant, the wires in their body are all properly connected and fully optimized to bear children, while your wires, on the other hand, are also all there, but instead tangled and not making the right connections needed to properly conceive. Let me personally tell you now that reorganizing your wires is actually easy once you know exactly how it's done. In the same amount of time it takes to watch this video, you can do everything it takes to have your body back on the fast track to having a baby of your very own. So if correcting our bodies to reverse infertility issues is so quick and easy, why do women bother with extreme drugs and dangerous treatments with absolutely no guarantee they'll work? A great question. I asked myself that same question, and what I discovered both shocked and disgusted me. The companies who pump out these fertility drugs want you to believe that they are a miracle solution. What makes it even worse is that these companies slip millions of dollars into the hands of doctors so they recommend them to their patients. Can you really trust a doctor who tells you to use a drug solely because they get a commission for prescribing it? What's more disgusting than a drug company paying off doctors to peddle their fertility drugs? The fact that they're charging hundreds per bottle to desperate women, knowing full well that the drugs could in fact have life-threatening side effects. Much like the tobacco industry, drug companies will do whatever they can to cover this up, but the proof is in the studies, the ones not secretly funded by these drug companies. A study conducted at the University of Washington, along with the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, took in 3,837 women. Marianne Rossing, DVM and PhD, analyzed the data from this study and discovered that the women who had taken the infertility drug were 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ovarian cancer than those who hadn't taken the drug. Freaky, right? So with fertility drugs no longer an option, I decided to start researching in vitro fertilization. And let me tell you, unless you're very well off financially, this surgery will leave a large gaping hole in your wallet. The odds of this method working are less than 50-50 and will be leaving you anywhere from $66,000 all the way up to $800,000 in debt. Even if you're one of the lucky ones it does work for, here is a fun fact. In vitro fertilization comes with a 35% chance of having 2 or more children at the same time. Which brings me to the story of Natalie Sullman. In 2009, Natalie underwent in vitro and 9 months later gave birth to a whopping 8 children at the same time, now commonly known to the public as the Octomom. Imagine the expenses of raising 8 children at the same time on top of trying to pay off in vitro treatment. If you're worried even the slightest about the toll it takes on your body after having just 1 child, completely clear your mind of what your body might look like after pushing out 8. I simply couldn't afford in vitro or take the risk of having had more than 1 child at the same time. It just wasn't an option for me, and I had to find a better way. So after studying the alternatives in depth, I learned that expensive drugs and surgeries were only a sneaky way to jump in front of the line, so to speak, with the odds of it not working and only placing you back further in line than where you were before. It wasn't until I started seriously studying the inner workings of my body, compared to those who had no trouble at all getting pregnant, things started to click. I was on my way to uncovering a solution that not only allowed me to go from hopelessly childless to a full-blown baby bump in just a matter of weeks, but a method you can use right now yourself, repeating it again and again to go on and have as many children as your heart desires. Infertility issues are a lot like owning a car. With age, your vehicle shows more and more signs of wear and tear. Little alarms start going off all over the place, and for the most part, we ignore them or put them off until a later date. See, ignoring these issues and not putting a stop to them right away always leads to much larger problems down the road. Just as your car will give off alarms and signs that something's not right, your body does the same. The common factor between nearly all women experiencing infertility issues is that they ignore these signs because they simply don't understand what they are. Just like many people don't understand how a complicated car works. It's not your fault. Finally, after years of research, I was able to establish my one-of-a-kind approach to reversing infertility issues, showing that if you know what different alarms are going off in your body, there are simple and effective methods you can start using right now to fix them, while dramatically decreasing the amount of time it takes for you to get pregnant. Over the years, right up until I gave miraculous birth to my first child naturally, I kept a detailed journal of all my findings. I organized it all and laid it out into a perfect step-by-step blueprint that I would soon put to the test, using it to hopefully conceive my next child. I followed my own guide word for word and quickly was able to officially stick a dagger in the heart of the once infertile, always infertile myth I regretfully had once come to believe. By the time I had consumed so much information on fertility and pregnancy, my head was about to explode. I decided to package up my findings into an easy-to-follow guide any couple could instantly start using. It's the guide I wish I had when I first started researching a solution to my fertility problems. Think of it as your guaranteed shortcut to getting pregnant naturally. I belonged to an online forum of women, all having a hard time getting pregnant, and asked any of them if they'd be interested in giving my system a test drive. By the next day, I had come back to find my post had received a whopping 304 replies, all asking me to send them a copy. I gave over 500 copies out to both men and women that week. All I had asked is that they follow my guide word for word and give me their results 60 days later. Want to know what happened after those 60 days? I'll tell you. When results started pouring in, it sent shockwaves throughout the infertility world. Out of the 500 couples who originally tested my system, a mind-blowing 398 of them had naturally become pregnant. Now, this might sound strange to you, but in that time, I was even invited by 15 of the overjoyed couples to come witness the birth of their first child. Crazy, right? Now, if you're like most people, you might be thinking, okay, you've convinced me. There's a fast and natural way to reverse infertility issues. But what about the remaining 102 couples this didn't work for within 60 days? I'm glad you asked, because after following up 10 months later with the 102 couples who did not see results immediately, I'm happy to report that 28 of them went on to eventually get pregnant naturally with further use of my system. Now, clearly, I'm not saying my system works for 100% of the couples who used it. Could you really believe someone claiming a 100% success rate? But in my trial run, over 85% of the couples who used my system got results. Now it's about time I introduced you to my quick and simple course, Get Pregnant Naturally in Just 60 Short Days. My quick and effective system is a step-by-step guide based on my proven methods and is designed to take you from hopelessly childless to your very first positive pregnancy test in just 60 short days. And it works even if you've been unsuccessfully trying to conceive over the past year, all without harmful drugs or expensive and evasive surgeries. When you invest in my shockingly affordable course and go through it like the thousands before you, you'll rapidly, almost unconsciously, transform your body into what I now jokingly like to call a baby-making machine. You'll finally be able to tell your parents they'll soon be grandpas and grandmas, stay awake at night with your partner coming up with baby names, even if you haven't already decided on one. Experience the glow that comes with being pregnant, and in just 9 short months, be able to hold a precious child tightly in your arms. A child that both you and your partner were able to conceive together naturally. In fact, if you're like my thousands of satisfied readers, you'll be on your way to becoming more fertile just hours after first getting your hands on a copy of my guide. The pregnancy approach is based on years upon years of personal research. It's been used, tested, and perfected by thousands of couples all over the world, and is clinically proven to help naturally correct nearly all reversible infertility problems you're currently facing. Just listen to what Tish had to say. Lauren, just around 1 year ago when I got your guide, I never thought I would be writing this to you. In my late 20s, I was unfortunate to have experienced not just 1, but 2 miscarriages. This left me emotionally drained, and I honestly didn't think I could bring myself to try a 3rd time. Now in my late 30s, and while it may sound ridiculous, I convinced myself that there must be something to the old saying, the 3rd time's the charm. So this time, with the help of your guide, my husband and I decided to give it one last shot. Following your method to a T, I felt a positive change in my body, and I had a gut feeling that this would work for me about 1 week in. Every other Monday, I'd pull out a pregnancy test, or a pee-stick as my husband would so elegantly call it, and cross my fingers. The 6th week into your program, and my 3rd pregnancy test, 2 pink lines appeared and my eyes teared all up. 9 months and 8 days later, I gave birth to a healthy and beautiful baby girl we named Samantha. I truly feel that if it wasn't for your method, Samantha would not be here in the world today. God bless you, Tish. Here's one of my favorites from Kelly. Dear Lauren, for the past 4 years, I have been dealing with different infertility issues, and at my last visit to the doctors, he said something that had me believe my only option might be adoption. He said, having a baby just isn't in the cards for you, my dear. My heart sank to the ground, and my arms felt weightless at my side. I started to uncontrollably cry right there in his office. So loud, in fact, I bet they could hear me all the way in the waiting room. A few days later, my mom found your site and got me a copy of Pregnancy Approach. To be honest, after the visit to the doctors, I thought reading it was completely pointless. That all changed just after reading the first chapter. I was hooked and read your entire guide in a single sitting. I took one last leap of faith and really gave the method in your guide everything I had. I wanted a baby of my own more than anything in the world, and am the type who fights for what I want. So did your guide work for me? Well, about 3 hours ago, I took my latest pregnancy test and waited for what I felt like an eternity, and it showed a happy face. I'm pregnant. About 2 hours ago, I took that same pregnancy test and marched into my doctor's office to rub it into his face. Well, not literally rub it in his face, because that would be gross, but you know what I mean. Now, I'm here with tears in my eyes and fingers trembling trying to write this email to you. My life has been forever changed, and it's all because of you, my amazing mother, and taking the leap of faith that your guide would work for me. We've never met, but you have directly changed my life forever. With the warmest heart, Kelly. And those are just a few of the thousands of emails I've received from incredibly satisfied couples from all over the world after using this simple, clinically proven, and natural method. Okay, this sounds amazing, and I'm interested. How do I get started? Honestly, this is the only pregnancy course like this in existence, so there's nothing to compare it to. So let's just think of the alternatives you could try, or you've already looked into. You could try buying the expensive drugs doctors will attempt to sell you, mostly because they're paid by the drug companies. You might walk away spending $2,500 on your first cycle. Multiply that expense every month you take them until you're pregnant. Ouch! And if you're like most people, you'll find yourself frustrated and annoyed at having spent thousands to take pills each day that didn't work. Next, you could try in vitro fertilization and going through with having invasive surgery. That'll cost you between $66,000 all the way up to $800,000 in some cases. Sadly, you'll completely miss out on the feeling of naturally conceiving a child with the one you love. Plus, each negative pregnancy test is followed by yet another bank-breaking in vitro bill. With a success rate of less than 50%, I don't have to tell you how ineffective this technique actually is. Finally, you could just give up completely and try adoption. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing nobler than accepting someone else's child into your family as your own. But deep down inside, you will always have the feeling that they're just that, someone else's child. I was shocked to discover that the basic fees to adopt a child start at $40,000, and it can take years before actually welcoming a child into your home. For me, and probably much like yourself, this was a last resort. I wanted to first try everything I humanly could to give birth to a child of my very own, a child that maybe would have my nose and my husband's eyes. Let me ask you a question. Years from now, when you are looking back on your life, how are you going to feel if you could have used a safe and natural method simply by sitting down for an hour, reading my guide, and putting it into use for just 60 days? Not to get depressing here, but most people will let their dream of having a child pass them by, chalking it up to reasons like they were never meant to have a child, or even going to lengths trying to convince themselves that they're better off without a child, so they can focus on their career. How are you going to feel if you could have taken that first step towards becoming pregnant naturally and starting a loving family of your very own? Exposed yourself to an entirely new chapter in your life, one where you're now a happy and proud parent, just by reading through my guide once, and you didn't do it. I know you've been trying to conceive a child of your very own. Whether you think what you're currently trying just isn't working, you feel there might be something wrong within you or your partner's body that's holding you back, or even if you feel that your age is playing a role, you're not alone. But know this, I have a solution that'll easily help to correct your reversible infertility problems. You'll discover it's actually much easier to get pregnant with my techniques. I want you to try this program for yourself and see how well it actually works. That's why, as part of my goal to help customers give birth to 1 million babies over the next 3 years, I'm convinced to let you have my quick and simple course for just a one-time investment of $47 if you act today. And because I really want you to know just how much I stand behind my system, I'm going to offer you a complete 100% refund for 60 full days when you act now. And all you have to do to get started is click the orange Add to Cart button below and complete our secure order form. Pregnancy Approach is now a best-selling and world-famous pregnancy method that's been relied on by thousands of couples over the last 5 years. And the only place to get your hands on a copy is right here at pregnancyapproach.com. You will not find my guide available in stores or on any other website. My methods have been featured in different women's publications all over the world. And of course, you are backed by my ironclad 8-week guarantee. Get pregnant in 8 short weeks or you don't pay. No questions asked. Here's how it works. Simply click the orange Add to Cart button below and place your order on our secure order form. Go through all the material and start putting it to use. Experience for yourself how easy it is to start reversing fertility issues firsthand. If you aren't absolutely blown away by the experience, if you don't start feeling incredibly positive changes within your body or get amazing results, simply contact me within 8 weeks for a prompt and courteous refund. I think after you experience for yourself how easy it is to naturally get pregnant with my system, you'll see the small $47 investment I'm asking you to make today as an absolute no-brainer. But you really do have to act right now. I'm offering my quick and proven course for just $47 as a way to get this into the hands of every parent who needs it and to reach my goal of helping give birth to over 1 million babies within the next 3 years. I'm planning on raising the price to $97, $197, or possibly even much higher in the future. See, here's the weird thing. When I tell a lot of couples who've spent months trying to get pregnant but with no luck, that you can naturally conceive a healthy baby of your very own in just 60 short days and for only $47 right now, well, to most people, that just sounds unbelievable. It just sounds too cheap, especially if you've been struggling to get pregnant and failing for months, or if you've researched the thousands it costs for alternative methods. My mission is to spread the pregnancy approach to as many couples as humanly possible, to make every wanting woman on the planet naturally pregnant if I can. But to a lot of couples, it just doesn't make sense that you can get such incredible results for less than a dinner for two at any nice restaurant. And that's why I just might need to raise the price to something more believable and reasonable soon. But if this video is still up, it means that you can still get the quick and clinically proven course for just $47 if you act right now. Listen, I don't want to put too fine a point on this, but when you think about it, you've really just got 3 choices ahead of you right now. Option number 1, stop watching this video and leave the page. Do nothing. Keep trying to get pregnant the way you are now. Keep being frustrated and maybe even ashamed by the fact you're not making any progress month after month. Option number 2, try to take a risky and expensive shortcut with drugs or surgery and come to terms with spending thousands on something that's over 50% likely not to work for you. And if in fact that method doesn't work for you, you're in debt thousands upon thousands of dollars, all for nothing, while at the same time trying to ignore the voice in the back of your mind that reminds you again and again there was an easier, more affordable, proven way and you didn't take it. Option number 3, risk nothing at all today. Grab the quick and clinically proven course along with my 100% full money-back guarantee. Simply give my guide one quick read, putting it to good use for 60 short days, and discover how easy it actually is to become pregnant naturally without any expensive drugs or embarrassing surgeries. Pregnancy Approach has been bought by thousands of ecstatic customers worldwide, and all you have to do to get started is click the orange Add to Cart button below. This has been the miracle method for couples who've endlessly been trying for months, even helping women in their 40s give birth naturally to beautiful and healthy children. It really is worth taking a leap of faith and just trying it out for the 60 days risk-free. Let me ask you a question. Do you not just want to get pregnant, but truly and utterly desire with all your being to be able to one day soon hold your newborn in your arms for the first time? Can you imagine how it feels to have little fingers reach out and wrap around one of yours? Can you imagine how it feels for the first time to hear a tiny voice come out from your very own newborn baby's mouth? To know that in just 60 short days, this could all be an actual reality for you. I bet you can. And I bet you can feel just how much you want this right now. Thousands of people around the world have learned how to naturally get pregnant the simple, easy way with Pregnancy Approach. And now you can too, just by clicking the orange Add to Cart button below right now. I hope you learned a lot from this presentation and were both inspired and encouraged to keep trying until the day comes you hold your very own child in your arms. Thank you for your time here today. Still here? Let me answer some of the most common questions you might have about the Pregnancy Approach and how you can finally get pregnant in just 60 short days, even if your situation might feel hopeless now. I have been trying to get pregnant for over a year now and haven't gotten anywhere. Can I really use your method to get pregnant in just 60 days? The short answer is absolutely. Up until today, you probably have been taking a trial and error approach to getting pregnant. You might even have started thinking that it will one night all come down to dumb luck. Thinking like that is exactly the reason you are still not pregnant. Pregnancy Approach leaves nothing to trial and error and lets you make your own luck, so to speak. This is a direct pregnancy blueprint laid out in a simple step-by-step system, fast-forwarding you directly to the pregnancy finish line. How is this different from anything else out there? The truth is, there's nothing else like Pregnancy Approach on the market. All you can really compare it against is your option to take fertility drugs or undergo in vitro fertilization. In this case, Pregnancy Approach should be thought of as the method to use first, before trying any other. This is an all-natural solution that allows you to take getting pregnant into your own hands. Absolutely no drugs and no expensive surgeries. I don't have a lot of free time. Can I use the Pregnancy Approach? Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, Pregnancy Approach was specifically designed with busy couples in mind. My method will effortlessly blend in with your lifestyle as it's all about making small changes to your already established daily routine. I've had a miscarriage in the past. Is the Pregnancy Approach safe for me? I know how hard that must have been for you and how scary it must be trying again. Now, with that said, completely toss your fears aside, as Pregnancy Approach helps you completely avoid miscarriages by seriously reducing the risk you will ever have another one. Will this method work if I'm in my 40s or even 50s? While some might tell you that you're too old to naturally conceive a baby, that couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, nearly every other day, an email is delivered to my inbox with the subject, "I'm 40-something and pregnant." Still need more proof this method works for women in their 40s and 50s? I'd like to introduce you to the true story of a woman named Vera from Kiev in the Ukraine. Vera had raised her son properly right up until the age of 20, where soon after, he tragically lost his life. Determined to have a child in her life again, she later gave birth to 2 twin boys, who sadly both passed away just 10 days later from complications. While most women could not bear the loss of any more children, Vera decided to try again just one more time. This time at the age of 57, 9 months later. On June 13th, 2008, Vera gave birth to a beautiful baby boy named Andre and is alive and well today. At 57, Vera conceived her baby boy 100% naturally without any assistance from drugs or doctors whatsoever. And while you might be thinking that Vera must be the one exception to the rule, know that stories like hers come pouring in each year. It's more than possible to naturally have a child naturally later in life. If the pregnancy approach works so well, why isn't everyone using it? Truth be told, thousands are already using this approach each month. It's my honest opinion that as word spreads about pregnancy approach, the real question will become who isn't using it. Who shouldn't use pregnancy approach? Anyone with the will and desire to get pregnant naturally should make this their first option if they've been experiencing difficulties over the past few months or even the past year. Even if you're well into your 40s, you should seriously consider first using pregnancy approach before any other method. That being said, I came up with this simple checklist. If any of the following 3 items appeal to you, then you definitely should not invest in my method. You think risky drugs are the answer. You believe that invasive surgery is the solution. You have thousands to burn on methods that don't guarantee results. Obviously, I'm kidding around here, but I hope that makes the point. How do I know I can trust your guarantee? We have been online for years now and have helped thousands of couples. Our pregnancy guarantee is very straightforward. Have a positive test by the 60th day or you don't pay. No questions asked. I don't think I would have one of the fastest growing solutions if I wasn't honoring my word. I think you'll be pleased to know my guide comes along with my personal email address, and if you ever have any questions or need guidance, I personally reply typically within just an hour or 2. Now all you need to do is try out the pregnancy approach and discover how easy it is to stop infertility issues and actually work to correct them in little to no time at all. Feel confident in your decision to invest in this method, knowing that it has successfully worked for thousands of couples before you. And after it has helped you hold a positive pregnancy test in your hand, it will continue on to help thousands of couples after you. Follow your heart. Invest just $47 and 60 days for a solution that's been proven to work. Just click the orange Add to Cart button below, place your order on the secure order page, and you'll get instant access to the pregnancy approach right this instant. No waiting 2 weeks for shipping or paying some ridiculous handling charge. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Just email me. Click the orange Add to Cart button below.